So welcome again to the Louisiana Cultural Economy Foundation Economic Opportunity Fund review of our business application webinar. We have three different application types. We have the business, nonprofit, and individual applications. So we would fill out whichever application type is applicable to your situation. Today, although we were looking at the business application specifically, the opportunity questions on all the applications are the same. So if you happen to be catching this webinar because you couldn't catch one of the other ones, it's still extremely beneficial. So on our homepage of culturaleconomy.org, I hope that you are all registered for our monthly digital newsletter. It's called Cultural Connections, and you can click here and register for that newsletter. It's very informative with information about all of our activities and programs, including our healthcare initiative, which is based in Lafayette. We do have a lot of different resources in that program and do free screenings. We also have, if you click this resource button right here, I like to play with this little highlighter, but it won't let me do my normal. If you click on resources, you'll see that we have all these different opportunities for cultural workers. We also have other funding opportunities. So you can subscribe to this resource section via RSS feed. That's what it's called, right? So that you can always stay up to date on all the different resources we post. These resources are also automatically posted to our Facebook page and our Twitter page. So if you're not already a follower, please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. It's Cultural Economy. Okay, I'm going to launch right into the information about the Economic Opportunity Fund grant since that's why you're here. I'll start off real quickly going through the timeline. So the grant online is due Friday, August 31st at 5 o'clock p.m. This is a hard deadline. It's an online application. We accept everything online, so everything must be submitted by that date. If you scroll down here, EOF grant round, you'll see other deadlines along the way. One thing that I want to point out to you, obviously you're participating in our business webinar, which is today. We do have two other webinars. If you know of anyone else that wants to sign up, they can do so on our homepage, register for those. I'd like to point out this August 15th draft review deadline. Dorian and I are willing to go into your applications and review drafts of what you've written in order to advise you before it's submitted. So we've set a deadline of August 15th for that so that people aren't contacting us with that for the last minute. So if you want more information about that, you can call us and email us. The grant application, like I said, is due August 31st. We are hoping to announce our grantees by November 1st, and then all checks will be paid out by the end of the year, hopefully by November 15th. Pardon me while I switch gears. Okay, I'm going to go back to the home page and go straight into the application. Right here, if you click on 2012 EOF applications now open, read more. That's right on the home page of culturaleconomy.org. You can click on one of these three buttons depending on which application you are filling out. Today we're going to review the business grant, so I'm going to click on Apply Now for an EOF business grant. We also have on our website, and I'm not going to go back, but on the EOF menu on the home page, you can click Downloads, and it will allow you to download a preview of the application, so that you can review the questions ahead of time before going into the online system, if that's helpful for you. If this is your first time here at the login page of the application, you will be clicking here to create a unique login for yourself. I've already logged in, and even if you applied last year and you have a login, that login would still be valid. So you just enter your email address and your password. Now, if you have forgotten your password or need help with that, you can contact Dorian at dorian@culturaleconomy.org, or you can click this Need Support button. Appears at the bottom of each of the pages, and anytime you have a technical issue, you can also click that button. Now, I've created 3 different organizations within here. Today, I'm going to focus on the business. Most of you will just have one organization listed. So this welcomes me into my unique login for the online application. Down here, this is the application I've been working on. It's called Development of a New Cultural Product Line. If you have applied in the past, those applications would also be listed here. If you're starting a brand new application for the first time, you would click this Start a New Application button. But right now, I've already gone into this. I've saved it to finish later, which is something you can do. So I'm going to click Continue on this action to continue working in this application. So then contact information is just going to ask you to click this match button. Please make sure we have the most up-to-date contact information on you, especially concerning the email address. Make sure that the email address you submit in this application is one that is checked often. Sometimes we have people who have interns or people hired temporarily to be grant writers, and they put their email addresses in, and then you don't find out about, notifications, questions we have about your grant, or even if you were awarded a grant. So it's very important to put an email address of a contact that is a direct contact that checks the email often. So I'm going to go to Save and Proceed because I already have started an application in this system. Now you'll notice across the top of this page above this business information section, you'll see welcome page, contact information. These are all of the different sections of the application, and you can click on any one of these sections at any time. For example, I've already filled in most of the information on this application, but I may still be working on the budget. In that case, I can just click straight on this budget tab, and it'll take me directly to the budget page of the application. But I'm going to go back so that I can go over with you all of the different elements of the grant application. So here, if you are the lead application in a collective, this is where you list your collaborating partners. If you have questions about collaborative applications, you can give Dorian or me a call. But basically, a collaborative could be one or more businesses, or even a business and an individual, or a business and a nonprofit teaming up for a common goal. If you want to apply as a collaborative, both or all parties of the collaborative must benefit financially from the grant. So like I said, if you have any questions about that, you can call us and we'll walk you through it. I did put a note on this page to tell you that in this tax ID number box down here, please make sure it says please include numbers only. If you include dashes, it's not going to let you go through. So just the numbers. And then the rest of this contact information is pretty self-explanatory to fill out. Under Artistic Discipline, there's a drop-down menu with what we hope is an extensive list. Just select the one that's closest to your artistic discipline. And then in this description of business section, it's important because we want to know what is it that you do in your daily business operations. What are your normal business activities? And that's going to be important in a minute when we learn more about your opportunity for which you're applying funding for. So I'm going to click Save and Proceed to get to the next section of this application. Now this demographic information, we're looking at the actual business owner. That's who we want to fill this section out. We do not use any of this demographic information in the selection process. It's basically used after the fact for funders and things of that nature if we need to collect demographics on our applicants and our grantees. So the next section is pretty much the meat of the application about your opportunity. And this is what I want to spend the most time talking about today. So I didn't go through the guidelines before this, but you can look through the EOF guidelines on our website. I assume if you're at this stage in being interested in applying for one of our grants that you've already perused the guidelines and found out that the grants we fund require you to have a unique opportunity to earn additional income. And again, I'm going to speak in terms of you being a business, since this is the business webinar, but this would be appropriate for whether you're an individual or a nonprofit. The opportunity you're applying for must create additional revenue for you. Dorian's pointed out,
I clicked on it and then it went away, so I think I unraised it. I don't know how to.
Jim Phillips had a hand raised. Jim, if you have a question, do you want to type it in the questions box? And again, if you're joining us late, I have announced that all the lines are going to be muted during the presentation. We'll use the questions box for questions, especially if you have questions specific to what I'm talking about right now or technical issues of some sort with the webinar. Please do type that question in. I am going to have an opportunity for live question and answer immediately following the presentation. So the opportunity title should describe the opportunity and indicate the main element for which you're applying for grant dollars. Make it specific enough so that from this title we can see what you're trying to do. So I have, in very general terms, decided that I'm going to develop a new product line in my business. The way I've kind of filled out this mock application is that I've kind of made up a little scenario, and then I've put a little mock answer in the question so you can get an idea of what we're looking for in these answers. And then I've also kind of posed additional questions to see, give you an idea of what kinds of things you can think about to include. We want you to include as much detail as possible in these applications, with keeping in mind there are character limits for each and every question. So the description of opportunity should be concise, like I said, but enough that a reviewer could read this paragraph right here and get a snapshot of what you're asking for, kind of a complete picture of it. My example of my cultural business is that I currently sell artists' work on consignment. And my unique idea is that I have an opportunity to create a unique product line that my business will create, and I will earn 100% of the profits instead of having to pay artists consignment, and taking only a percentage of the profit. So I'm applying for a grant for equipment needed and other support related to this creation of this product line. So my answer here that I've come up with is Lisa's Cultural Business has the opportunity to create a unique product line to be made for sale in our retail and online stores. So, and I'm talking here in terms of a product line. Obviously, you may have many other ideas that may include services or, could be anything. So, just in the spirit of trying to be as generic as I can, these are some of the things that you want to try to think about in description of opportunity. Describe what it is you're trying to do. In this case, a description of the product line you plan to introduce. How are you going to produce it? How did you come up with the idea? Why did you think there was a need for this? Did someone come into your store and say, oh, I like this, but if you had X, it would be even better? And then finally, what would you need us to fund in order to execute this new opportunity? And how will it benefit your business overall? So like I said, pretty much a complete snapshot of what it is you're requesting. Then we'll get into more detail of some questions in terms of earned income. Next, location of opportunity is, the location of your business. If the opportunity involves travel, you might put the city you're traveling to, but basically it's where most of the business is going to be conducted. The next question is what makes this opportunity unique for your business? I'm going to scroll back up. If you remember back in the, I think it's in the business information page, a question is asked that says, what does your business do? What is your normal business operations? This question is going to pretty much stand up to a comparison of that answer. What makes this opportunity unique for your business? So I want to know what it is that you normally do based on what you said in that other question, and how is this going to be unique from what you're already doing? So my mock answer is that this opportunity is unique for my business because in the past, we've sold products of other artists on consignment. But through this opportunity, I'll be able to create my own unique Louisiana product. So, like, for example, what do you do normally? How is this different? How is this going to enhance or complement what you're doing now? Things like that. We're looking for, if you're having trouble answering this question, sometimes it may mean that this is a normal operations of your business and it may not qualify. So you really kind of have to think out of the box on what is unique about this. How is this going to open up a new stream of revenue and not revenue that you're already earning? So then the next question falls right in line with that revenue question of how will you earn additional income? If you notice on all of these questions, and I keep moving my little box around so I've lost my little tools. I like to use this highlighter sometimes. If you notice in italics next to each of these application questions, there are these things that we're looking for in this question. So this is a really important question, how will you earn additional income? As much detail as you can give about how you're going to translate this opportunity into direct earned income is what we want to see in the answer to this question. So I've noted that by creating this product, I'm going to earn 100% of the profit instead of having to pay a percentage to an outside artist. I've noted that I'm going to sell it in the store and on the website, so I'm showing two different sales channels. I'm noting that I have already spoken with other galleries and stores who are actually going to be interested in carrying this product as well. So I'm establishing demand and showing that I'm going to expand to even more sales channels. Sometimes you can do this, sometimes you can't. If you can give a little a projection of, for example, if I sell X amount a month, I'll generate, this much additional money. Sometimes you don't have all that information depending on what you're applying for, but the point here is as much detail as possible as you can give us is going to support your case. So some of the other things you can think about is, will it increase the amount of money you can charge per item? Will it allow you to have greater productivity, maybe produce more? Will it allow you to charge a higher price in general? And, once again, I'm going to reiterate, I have created this mock application using a product, but you can apply these questions really to any opportunity you're applying for. In this question, what are the long-term financial benefits of the opportunity? This question is here because we want to make sure what you're applying for is not like a one-time shot. Many times people will call us and say, I'd like to apply for a grant because I'd like to have an event in my store, or I'd like to start a new festival, or, have something like that. Any kind of an event is usually a one-time generator, and we want your opportunity to be something that's going to generate new income for the long term and in a sustained way, not just a one-time thing. So I've come up with some ideas of how I can earn income long term with my new product, saying that I might create a new version each year, expand the product line each year, which will allow me to increase the income I earn with each year. I might, if I'm requesting a piece of equipment, I might have ideas for other applications that I can do in the future with the same equipment. How are you going to be able to continue to earn a profit from this in the future? Maybe will it lead to other opportunities? These are just different things. How will it advance your business? How will it advance your career? Things like that. These are different things you can think about. What is your marketing plan? This is really important, and it's actually a question that we added, I think, last year. So if you applied for a grant before with us, you may have not seen this question before. But we realized that many people had extremely unique and creative ideas of what they wanted to do, you know, what kind of product they wanted to bring to the market or service or what have you. And then we'd realize, wow, this is a great creative idea, but how are they going to let people know about it? So we feel like it's really important for you to let us know how you're going to market the idea, the product, the service, whatever it is that you're doing to earn extra money. This should include, you know, who are you going to market it to? Who are your current customers? And maybe you're going to market this new thing to your current customers. Who are new customers that you could introduce this to? Or maybe, you know, whatever the new idea is could open you up to new customers. Is there a specific niche, and how will you reach those people? So a lot of times, you know, with the budgets that we're talking about, paid advertising is very expensive, and it's not an option. But if you have the opportunity to get free or donated advertising, social media is always a great option. If you have retail outlets, online outlets, websites, if you participate in art markets, these types of things. If you want to do direct sales, some of our artists who typically sell retail sometimes branch out into more of a wholesale market, and that requires more of a direct one-on-one. So it doesn't necessarily have to be paid advertising, because that is quite expensive, but it just has to be some way of letting people know that you have this new, you know, how are you going to translate it into sales, basically. The next questions are pretty self-explanatory. Well, actually, the next question about partial funding, we have done some partial funding in the past. For example, if you request $2,500, we'll say, well, we can't really grant the full $2,500, but we'll give you $2,000 to see if we could try to spread some of the limited funds around to more people. We found that this isn't very successful, because we found it's more successful to fully fund people and their ideas, because the grants we have are such small seed dollars that it doesn't make sense to cut them further. So it is a question that we keep on here. In the event of partial funding, for example, if we gave you half the money, could you complete it? I've answered, no, I will not be able to complete it. I need the full funding, or else I won't be able to do it. You know, or you might say something, well, if I'm partially funded, I could do this portion of the project. And then, have you received EOF funding in the past? Self-explanatory, yes or no. And then if your answer is yes, you would go ahead and select, yes, I received one in 2008 and then again in 2010. It should let you select all of them. And then you can give an explanation down here in this box. The date opportunity begins. Basically, the reason this question exists is because we don't fund things that are already existing or that have happened in the past. So we also want to make sure you can execute whatever the opportunity is as soon as you get the funds, or within 12 months of receiving the funds. So, you know, as soon as you receive funding, you can start, or maybe if it's a travel-related thing or a dated-related thing, you could put that date here. Again, these types of demographic questions we have here, these are related to your opportunity. Since I'm selling a product, I've gone ahead and selected all the ethnic groups, because I have a retail store and anyone can walk in. So, you know, this might not apply to you. For example, the will this benefit any of these underserved populations or provide free activities doesn't necessarily apply to what I'm doing, so I'm going to leave that blank. Again, we don't use this in grading the merit of the opportunity. It's more for demographic information for us to have on file in the future for different funder requests. So I'm going to click Save and Proceed. The very last page that you come to on the grant application is the budget page. So right now, our total grant is $2,500. But this project is going to take me $3,000 to complete. So the total budget of my opportunity should be the total budget of everything you need in order to execute the opportunity, even if it exceeds the amount of the LCEF grant funds available. So my example is that I have a $3,000 budget. In the line item budget, you want to try to be as specific as possible. So I need a main piece of equipment in order to create these products, these 2 supplies that are related to the equipment, and then I'm going to pay someone $1,000 to create the new web page and set up the e-store for the new products. And that's kind of a real general example of how to put together a budget. If you have more specific questions concerning your specific thing you're applying for, you can always get in touch with us. But my general rule is that the more specific you can be, the better. You know, if you're requesting $2,500 and we see one line item in your budget that's $2,500, I mean, unless it's like a piece of equipment that happens to cost that much, it's just going to look suspect. So we like to see as much detail as you can give. And then the amount requested from LCEF is $2,000. For other funding sources, I'm going to list myself that I have personal funds to invest of $1,000, which is why I'm only requesting $2,000 out of a $3,000 budget. If you'll notice here, the explanation for other funding sources is that if total budget of opportunity exceeds the amount you're requesting, we must know where you're going to get those other funds. So if your budget is $3,000, you're only asking for $2,000, where are you going to get that other $1,000? We want to know that. Whether it's another grant you applied for, whether it's, you know, money you personally have saved, whether someone has pledged to give you the money if you can raise, you know, the additional money, that's what we want to see there. Will funds be used for consultant services? You just answer yes or no if you're going to pay an outside consultant. If you're paying an outside consultant, in this case I'm paying my web consultant, we just want to know a little bit about the person to make sure they're reputable. And right here I've gone ahead and put in a website of this person that you can go look up their credentials. I'm telling you they have 15 years of experience. And this is basically if you have a line item in your budget where you're paying an individual or another company to do work for you. We like to see who that professional is. Then you have, as a business, the opportunity to upload your profit and loss statement. If you're an individual or a nonprofit, there are other uploads required, which I can discuss at a separate time. But for now, I'm going to focus on the business. I have uploaded a sample profit and loss statement. If you're an existing business, whatever accounting software you normally use, you can pretty much just pull this report. A lot of the people I work with are very small businesses and maybe don't have that capability. So here's a sample of a profit and loss statement, which we just want to see a basic income and expenses from the last recently completed year. So something, for example, like this. And if you would like a copy of this example or have questions about what we're looking for in a profit and loss statement, you can give me a call. But basically, we want to know that you're in business, you're doing business. We're not looking to see how much money you made or if you've gained or lost profits. We just want to make sure you're an existing, competently operating business. The final thing on the business application right now is work samples. This is something brand new. So if you've applied for an LCEF grant before, you've never had to provide work samples. And part of the reason is that there are other grant programs that select the grants based on the artistic merit of the work, and our grant program has never been that way. Our grant program selects grants based on the merit of the unique business idea and the impact potentially that it will have on a grantee. However, in this becoming such a competitive process with limited funds and a lot of applications, the review panels that we've put together in the past have requested that they can see work samples. We do ask for things like website, social media pages, things like that earlier on in the demographic section of the application. In the past, we've just relied on that to be able to see samples of the artist's or business's work. So this is just a little enhancement. It would allow you to upload either a JPEG, a picture of something, a Word document maybe with a listing of other websites we can go look at, especially if it's video or that kind of media. You could refer us to websites. You could put pictures with little captions to tell us, especially if it's kind of a prototype of something that's not really in development yet, and it might be something we want to see an example of. You could do a sketch or have a sample picture or something like that. So since this is a brand new thing, please feel free to call us or email us if you have any questions about what we are looking for. Once you finish with that budget section, which is the last section of the application, then you're going to click at the bottom, Save and Proceed. At this point, you're going to see a page that says Review Your Application. On this page here, you have the opportunity to review everything that you've already entered into the online system. These questions that are in red with asterisks next to them are required. So if you, for some reason, leave one blank, forget to answer it, before you click Submit to the next page, it's going to let you know that that's a required field and you need to fill it out. So you can't accidentally leave anything blank. So here's everything we talked about, all of the different answers I've put in. Another thing I want to mention for these narrative answers, most of them, for example, description of opportunity, what makes this opportunity unique, we have a 2,000 character limit. That's not a word count, it's a character count. So if you type it into, for example, a Microsoft Word or other word processing software, you can monitor your character count as you go, so you can edit it there, because if you noticed in the application as I was going through, you've got this teeny tiny little box to type in. It's kind of difficult to see your work. So sometimes it's easier to construct it like in a word processing, but the online system has a little bit of problems recognizing the characters straight from like a Microsoft Word. So we recommend that you copy and paste it into either TextEdit or Notepad, depending on if you have Mac or PC. That eliminates some of these excess characters that Microsoft Word puts in that we don't see. And then you can copy and paste directly from there into the application. It's an extra step, but it kind of cleans up some of those things that we don't see that end up in the Microsoft Word document, somehow creating extra mystery characters. So that's just a little technical side note. So once you're satisfied with the answers to all these questions, you can click this Submit button. When you click this Submit button, the application is submitted and you're done. You will receive an email. Again, like I said, the very important email address that we talked about earlier that's checked by the main contact of the business, saying, we've received your application. So you get that confirmation. For some reason, you click Submit, you don't receive the email, you're worried about it, you can give us a call, we can go in and check. If you are not finished, or you need to come back and do something later, upload your work samples, your profit and loss, you can click Save Only, and then that's where it will save your work. We're back to this intro start page, and then I can go log in and press continue at a later time. This is also what you can do if you'd like us to review a draft of your application. This is a service that we offer. If you would like us to review the application before you click submit and see what kind of advice we can give you, it's great to have a third-party perspective on what you're writing. We'll be happy to do that, and we've set the deadline of August 15th for all those drafts. And then we'll just ask you to call us and give us your email and password, and we'll log in and take a look at your application before you hit submit. So that's the end of my review of the actual application. I want to go back to the website right now and just show you a couple of quick things. This is where I said earlier, the EOF grant tab. Click on Downloads. You'll see here all the different samples of applications. So you could click on this sample business EOF application. It'll pull up a PDF that you can print out and kind of have a printed version to refer to, because it's a little tedious to go through each of those pages on the online copy. Something else I wanted to go over in our guidelines, which if you have not completely read our guidelines, I really do encourage you to go through this guidelines section and read all of our guidelines before you get into it, to see the kinds of things we support, we don't support, who's eligible, who's not eligible. But I really want to point out this helpful hints for writing a successful grant application. That's found within the grant guidelines. These are the things that we really look for in these applications, and this might help you in constructing your application. Especially here, notice, I'll get my little highlighter out again, the following criteria are used by reviewers to rate applications. These are the things that the review panel is told to look for specifically. So clarity and specificity, innovation and creativity, that you've established you'd be able to complete the opportunity. Our grant funds, if you've applied with us in the past, we used to offer a maximum of $5,000 for businesses. Unfortunately, with the state of the funding situation right now, we have lowered that maximum to $2,500. So across the board, you can only apply for a maximum of $2,500. We need to know that you're going to be able to realize what you're going to do with those funds. So really, I encourage you to go through these bullet points and make sure that you are completing your application with all of these things in mind. Okay, that is pretty much the end of my presentation. I have been hearing Dorian furiously typing on the other side of the room, answering questions. You can continue to type in your questions and we'll answer them. Yeah, however, I will, I need to look for my attendee list on here. If you go ahead and click the raised hand, I will unmute your mic and allow you to answer a verbal question, ask a verbal question if you'd like me to, if you don't feel like typing. But
this question is long and my explanation is long, so you might want to just...
Is it this one? Is it the one? I see it. I see it. Okay, I'm interested in applying for a grant to purchase underwriting time on the local public radio station. That's the only expense of the project. I'm already using a lot of free marketing opportunities. This would be the first time I market my business using paid media. Okay, I'm glad you brought this question up because it reminds me of a point that I wanted to make that I did not make. A lot of times people will ask us, will you fund this? For example here, will you fund me to purchase media time on the radio? The answer is, instead of focusing on what will we fund, we need to focus on why are you asking for the funding. In other words, what is the opportunity related to the funding? Instead of saying, do you fund this piece of equipment? Will you fund for me to pay advertising? I need to know more about the opportunity. So the answer may be yes if you're asking for paid advertising for something new and unique you're doing. And the answer may be no if, based on this question that you say, this is the first time I market my business using paid media. Even though it's just the first time you're doing marketing, if you're marketing something that your business does on a regular basis, then the answer is no, because that is considered general operating of your business. However, we do pay for marketing for a business if it's related to the brand new unique opportunity. For example, if it was, in my example of Lisa's cultural business and my new product, I've never marketed that product before. And I've also never advertised on the radio before. But I think I can get a brand new market by advertising this product on the radio. That would be more in line with what our grant program covers, because that's a new, unique opportunity. So I hope I answered that question. Are there any other questions that haven't been answered or hands raised? Dorian?
Is the max $2,500 per business per idea per community? Is that businesses in the Springhill area? You see that?
The max is $2,500 per application. All businesses are allowed for, I'm saying business just because this webinar happens to focus on business, but everyone's allowed to submit one application per grant round. So I guess it would be $2,500 period for the business. I see a hand raised. It's Jackie Schneider. Jackie, I'm going to unmute you so you can go ahead and ask your question. Jackie, are you there? Jackie?
Yes.
Oh, you're typing. You can actually verbally.
Oh, okay. What is the max awarded for nonprofits? Is it the same?
It's $2,500.
25. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can find more questions on this questions log. I might have a question, Maria Fomich. What's the max award for nonprofit? I just answered. Can a person apply for a business and a personal grant? The answer to that question is yes, if it is two unrelated things. So you might have to talk to me more specifically about what you're trying to do. So you can apply for your business and yourself as an individual artist as long as those two things are unrelated and they're two different projects. Yes, Maria, you have your hand up. Maria, you're unmuted.
Okay, that was actually one of my questions. Can you hear me?
If you can apply for more than one grant?
Yeah, but I have another question as well. I was under the impression that in the past, wholesale opportunities or trade shows weren't acceptable as a grant opportunity. But last year I was under the impression that it was something that maybe y'all were opening a little, and I did attempt to write that. I just want to know, as far as this year, like, I did just open a small business. I'm still a working artist, so would there be a way for me to apply for still a wholesale show this year and to benefit a business, because I'm still doing these wholesale shows and I do need, or maybe it's not an issue of paying for the wholesale expenses, but of paying, helping me financially to support the new body of work. Maybe
okay, I'm having trouble completely understanding you. It sounds like you probably should email me or call me separately so we can have a conversation about your thing in particular.
Okay.
The thing about the trade shows, we do fund trade shows. We do fund professional development workshops. But like I said earlier, and you can't look at, do I fund this one thing? You really have to look more at what is the overall opportunity to know if that is relevant for our funding. So you kind of have to flip it around. It's not about what we pay for line item by line item. It's about we're funding this opportunity and what do you need in order to execute this opportunity. So we might just need to talk specifically about your case since it sounds a little bit complicated. Okay, I'm going through. I don't see any other hands raised. I'm going to expand my questions box. Dorian, do you see any other new questions? Again, you can click the little hand icon next to your name if you have a question that you want to verbally ask, or you can type a question into the questions box.
I answered Jim, but you might want to answer further down if you saw my answer.
All right. Well, I'm going to click on some of these unanswered questions that I'm not sure who they came from, but maybe answering will benefit the group. I'm applying as president. Oh, yeah, that is Jim. If I'm applying as president of a 501c3, can I apply as the owner of a separate for-profit business for unrelated projects? The answer is yes. And if you are the lead, the contact person on that, you know, when I went into that first screen, I had 3 different things listed. I had an individual application, a nonprofit, and a business. If you have questions about how to set that up, just give me a call. I can help you with that. But yes, as long as you're a president of a nonprofit, you also have your own business, yes, you can apply for 2 different applications. Can I apply as an individual artist with a completely different company? Yes. If so, do I minimize my chances for each opportunity? Yes and no. The more applications we have, the less opportunity one has to be funded just in general. But as long as your things are completely unrelated, you can feasibly submit 3 applications under your name. If you happen to be the, like I said, on the board of a nonprofit or in charge of a nonprofit, you have a business and you're, like, the business individual thing gets a little slippery because most individuals are considered their own self-employed businesses. So applying as a business and an individual is legal as long as it's two separate things. So those, you know, I might have to see on a case-by-case basis if that, you know, what can help you with there. So I hope I answered that question. Which do you prefer, that we call or email? Which works better for you? Really either. Sometimes it's difficult to get us on the phone. If you do call and leave a message, we answer each and every call as soon as we can. Same thing with the emails. I think with the email you can get into a little more detail, and then I can have time to read what you're doing. We try to answer, when we don't try, we definitely answer each and every question, phone call, and email. So send your emails, leave your phone messages, and just be patient with us getting back with you. Would requesting funding for workshops or conferences to improve skill be required? I mean, I think you then said I answered this question. Like I said, it depends on the opportunity. The person apply for business and personal, I answered that. Okay, I think that is all of the new questions that I have in the questions box. Dana Richardson has a hand up. Dana, you are unmuted. What's your question? Dana, are you there? Dana, I know that I heard. Oh, hello?
There we go. Yeah, I apologize. It stayed muted on my side.
Oh, that's okay.
Lisa, I see a lot of written material type of orientation, and yet the other day I was at a seminar where the emphasis was on film and film media, especially if we were going to do a collaborative effort with some folks in film. You're looking at creative opportunities. So are things along those lines something that you would consider looking at, or are you more oriented towards pamphlets and those sorts of things?
Absolutely not. No, no,
Okay.
no. Quite the opposite.
Fabulous.
I'm not sure what you meant at the top of your question, the statement you made about seeing a presentation or something like that.
Well, let me share this with you very quickly.
Okay.
I saw a video presentation by a local group where they were helping to educate young people about finance. And I represent the community, and I said, well, we could do the same thing at the community level, and it would be wonderful. So that's that. I was just wondering if you guys are open to media type of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Then, okay. Good.
We're open to, there's no limit to what we're open to. I mean, we're open
Fabulous.
to the most creative thing you can come up with. As a matter of fact, if what you're requesting is non-traditional, something completely, you know, it's something completely different and new, it's going to be more likely to be funded than, you know, I hate to say it, but I want to go to a trade show, or, you know, I mean, and that's really putting it very simply, because sometimes
Wonderful.
trade show requests can be very elaborate and excellent opportunities. But yes, the more creative you can get, the more out the box. That's the kind of thing we're looking for here. We're looking for innovation. We're looking for entrepreneurship. So, and like, you know, again, if you want to talk to me specifically about what your idea is, you can email or call. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm going to mute Dana, and then I see that Michelle has a hand up. Michelle, what? Woo! Michelle?
Yes, hello?
Yes, do you have a question?
You answered my question.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so I think you have ESP.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Michelle. All right, I think that's it for the hands raised, and I think that's it for the typed questions. I am going to thank you very much for attending this webinar. Again, you can reach us at our office, which is 504-895-2800. You can email us, Lisa@culturaleconomy.org, and Dorian@culturaleconomy.org. And we hope to hear from you, and we hope to hear a lot of wonderful creative ideas this round. And good luck to everyone. Thanks so much.